Hello there, friends, and welcome back to Game 2 of this series between Johnny's Revenge and Team Zephyr. Team Zephyr, the power of friendship, the Western Winds, take Game 1 of this series, and they're now one game away from moving on to the semifinals. Likewise, Johnny's Revenge, one game away from elimination. Blaze, my friend, my comrade, my co-caster, how you feeling, man? What's up?
Awesome. After that game, I could watch these guys play 100 more. Can we make a best of 300 or something? Yeah, let's just keep it going.
Best of 300. All right, I'll see you in a few years.
Just see, you gotta be sure who's the better team. So
you were pretty excited about that Abaddon pick last game. I'm not gonna lie, you were pretty pumped.
Yeah, I mean, last game was pretty much picturesque about how it's supposed to be used, and it's something that not only do I like to incorporate in my drafts, but it's a secret weapon, especially against a team that has like a Skywrath and Abaddon, or not Abaddon, Alchemist. It's just like it's so awesome what you can do if you can coordinate well. I could kind of throw us back a little bit to my time doing in WoW PvP, or not PvP, but PvP and raiding. You do healing and you do like look at, okay, who's taking the most damage, who needs this assistance, and it takes a very aware player to be able to sense exactly where their resources are needed at the exact right time and be able to respond to it. So mad props to Easton on that one. Really saw some great stuff out of him, as well as Merlini. And it's not just a catchphrase to say they're fueled by the power of friendship. The fact that they put their trust in one another in that way, it's why it's so awesome to be able to commentate a team game such as this. So it's pretty awesome. I don't think we're going to see the same thing this time around, but all the same, they showed what they can do in Game 1, and even with a different strategy, Game 2 should be just as interesting.
But here, Zephyr do get things started off with a Faceless Void as well as a Wraith King. And Johnny's Revenge, they'll grab the Shadow Shaman and Tidehunter. So some familiar faces. So much Shadow Shaman love today, man. I feel like we've seen him either picked or banned in every game that you and I have covered, and then the series that I did before that, we saw a lot of Shadow Shaman as well. He's hot to trot.
Yeah, absolutely. He is just such a strong hero. The relevancy that he has in any scenario as far as the hero compositions go, and the fact that his wards just do so much tower damage, it's absolutely insane. Like, you essentially take a hero that can enable kills and also follow through with the potential to bring down towers and take objectives based on those kills. So it's essentially like a all-in-all package for support. The only thing he doesn't have is like responsive defensive play, like he can't defensively disrupt somebody or shield somebody to keep them alive, but that's where the disables being precisely used can do so much work. You just respond to situations, you make sure that the enemy can't do what they want to, and once you get those kills, of course, you can just get a huge amount of gold advantage for your team.
Absolutely right. So, Skywrath, Ancient Apparition banned out. Yeah, Johnny being very cautious not to give Zephyr too much damage to dump into the old Chrono there. How does Zephyr run their Wraith King? I feel like they more often than not run him as a core rather than a support.
Yeah, Corey loves Wraith King. That's like one of his top 3 heroes. And so in that situation, you'd probably expect the Faceless Void to run on the off lane, and then Wraith King would be the carry, followed by Witch Doctor Tree, or maybe they could get, I don't know, Mirana would be good. Wraith King Mirana is still an incredibly high win rate duo of heroes, but no matter what, that looks like they kind of still want to draft into staying power. They reincarnate the healing aura. They can really bring the hurt and continuously keep it active. Of course, still kind of being dumping in, like you said, a lot of spells into Chrono to try to make sure that they can also get the wombo combo in those key moments with the Death Ward.
Yeah, I think a Mirana pick would be great for Zephyr here. As you mentioned, that Wraith King Mirana duo is still so potent, not only because he has a stun, but the stun slows afterwards, so it makes it even more difficult to sidestep arrows from long range versus other stuns like Magic Missile and what have you. And that's a pretty scary tri-lane. Witch Doctor, Mirana, and Wraith King. There's some serious kill potential there. Even just as a roaming support duo, the Mirana and Witch Doctor can do some pretty serious work. Now, Johnny will switch it up a little bit here. They third pick the Enchantress, a hero we haven't seen too much throughout this tournament so far. Actually haven't seen at all. And they will go ahead and fourth pick the Invoker here. So,
yeah,
they're getting it up from last game.
They're getting so many signature heroes here. Sharky is like half of his
remaining.
games he can get as Shadow Shaman. Johnny plays a mean Enchantress. Winter,
5 seconds
since the
remaining.
nerfs to Bat Rider, he kind of switched over to Tide as his main hero. And all
Reserve
the
time.
same, Polasan, the first time I ever saw this guy was on Invoker, and it sticks to me to this day. Like, he plays a mean Invoker. Maybe DDZ can give him a run for his money, but in the East, he's definitely in the top 3. So expecting a lot from him, but all the same, we do see maybe some Blitz Timbersaw to counteract that.
Yeah, the not a classic Timbersaw game. He really is that classic Timbersaw is against those strength core heroes as we
Radiant
saw earlier
team
tonight,
ban.
but always good against Tidehunter. And if they want to try something different with Timbersaw on the offlane, I guess, do you think, like, guaranteed your Blitz mid on Timbersaw? Is that one of
I
their
think it's
pocket
50-50.
strats?
There's a
50-50.
lot of ways you can do it. Blitz
10
mid could
seconds
be
remaining.
great for Timbersaw, but at the same time, we did see earlier tonight a Faceless Void, a
5
Lich
seconds
dual lane
remaining.
that worked out very well, and that is pretty much what you want against Invoker. Like, if you get Sacrifice versus
Reserve
Invoker, he's not going to get the much needed experience, and Enchantress and Shadow Shaman's rotations aren't going to be as effective. So I could very well see, like, Bambo taking the Timbersaw on the offlane, and then the Faceless Void Lich combo working well in the mid. The problem is it doesn't really fit Zephyr's playstyle. Like, Blitz Faceless Void, I don't think I've seen it, and I don't know how well that would work out unless they practiced it off the books.
Yeah, that's yeah. If it's Timbersaw, like, I feel like just with the Timbersaw pick here, they want to match him up against the Tide because that's just a matchup that Timbersaw has an upper hand
10
in.
seconds
Timbersaw
remaining.
versus Invoker, especially in the mid lane in a 1v1, I feel like Invoker should
5
be able to do
seconds
some
remaining.
pretty solid work there.
It's a tough call. I'm not too sure. I mean, maybe they could go aggro try, Void, Wraith King, Witch Doctor, and put the Wraith King in the supportive role, and that
Yeah.
would enable them to pick up another solo hero so that you could get that Timbersaw versus Tide, and then you could get, I don't know, a TA versus Invoker. I'm not too sure. But yeah, okay, this changes a lot too. I haven't seen
Radiant team
Chibi's Morphling, but there's a lot of potential there as well.
Okay. So, Rubik, the final choice for Zephyr. All right, let's think about this a little bit here. That is their second support. It will be the core Wraith King that you were talking about.
I don't think so, actually.
No.
Witch Doctor, unless they switch it up.
All right, we'll wait until they get in the game to swap. That would be interesting. Position 1 Witch Doctor with a support Wraith King.
Well, Rubik, right? Yeah, it would be Merlin's playing support, at least as of last game. Obviously, their role switches convolute this so much, but assuming they stick with last game's roles, which if it's not broken, don't fix it, I would say Witch Doctor support, and that would be a core Rubik, which, if you think about it, up against a Morphling, he can steal Morph, become super tanky, and then be in any position he wants to steal Ravage. Like, I could see that working extremely well, to be honest.
That's a good point. That is something that we didn't mention,
10
but Rubik
seconds
versus
remaining.
Morphling is particularly strong for the Rubik because you can steal Morph, and when you morph all that strength, it doesn't go away when you steal another spell, which is a pretty unique mechanic in the context of Rubik, where he gets to keep all of that stuff that he morphed. So I don't know that I've really seen a core Rubik in that context, but it could certainly work here. Bambo is headed to the offlane on this Rubik already. He does have a ward, so I think he just wants to block a pull. But
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued to see how Zephyr opts to lane this.
I think I recall a game where Sexy Bambo actually got Aghanim Scepter on a core Rubik and was able to steal Luna's ultimate in the Southeastern Asian TI4 qualifiers and get like a rampage out of it. Like, that sticks pretty well in my mind. So I think this is the kind of style that he wants to play. And yeah, if he steals a morph and is able to just get super tanky to be as aggressive as he wants to with those steals and with his abilities, this could be a very impressive display indeed.
Yeah, I actually remember
30
that
seconds
it
to
was either an
round.
Ultra Kill or a Rampage. I remember that was like a super, super clutch steal. I remember watching that at the TI4 qualifiers at the hub, and everybody just like going completely apeshit for 5 minutes.
Well deserved too.
Yeah. So, all right, let's introduce some rosters here. Let's see what's going on. On the Radiant side, Team Zephyr. They are up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. We've got Eosin on the Wraith King. Down here in the bottom lane, he'll be supporting Corey on the position 1 Void. In the mid lane, that is Blitz on the Timbersaw. First point in the Whirling Death there. Merlini on the support Witch Doctor with some interesting cosmetics. The old beak of the Stormcrow. It's funny looking. And, of course, it will be Sexy Bambo on the Rubik, who will be slated for the offlane here. Sharky on the Shadow Shaman. Uh-oh, he's got a double damage room, but he'll get telekinesis to the high ground. And that should be a pretty easy first blood. Sexy Bambo picks it up. And now this offline Rubik will start off with a nice little bit of gold.
So Rubik is going to be 1 versus 3 up against Invoker, played by Polisan. He's going to be running Exhort with Boots first here on the safe lane. Then we look over the jungle. We're going to be seeing Johnny running on that Enchantress. But we do see already that at least one of the camps is going to be warded up, the pole camp, in fact. And then looking over beside him, Sharky is going to be running on the Boots for Shadow Shaman, supporting. And then over towards the mid, we do have Chibi running on that Morphling. Now, Morphling's matchup here is a little weird against Blitz, because if he has low movement speed by comparison, so when... Okay, I don't even know why that Whirling Death didn't hit, but anyways, when Whirling Death connects on him, since he's running so much agility, that actually really hurts everything about him. It's mostly his base damage and attack speed, but even the armor, it doesn't make it easy to trade back and forth between the two. Anyways, to finalize the roster here for Johnny's Revenge, we do have Winter here on the offlane. He is all set up with HP regen. 7 tangos, 1 salve, and boots. He is pretty much here to stay.
Yep, that's for damn sure. And with a melee support in that Wraith King, he won't be harassed too much. So he should have a pretty easy time farming away in this lane. He is 4-2 versus the 7-0 Void. Not super easy, but Aosin can still poke at him. And Anchor Smash will certainly come in handy here. He will take a Wraithfire Blast to the face. And Winter actually could be in some trouble here. A Time Lock comes out. Aosin looking for the body blocks, but can't find it. Time Walk forward. There's your Wraithfire Blast. Winter, will he survive this? Anchor Smash to mitigate some damage. Another Time Lock. Aosin still just can't get in position for the body blocks. Oh, my. Next level body blocks could have secured another kill there, I think.
Still extremely tanky with that 1 point in Kraken Shell, that 1 point in Anchor Smash alone. And if he can get towards level 5, level 6, like, he's practically immortal against these two. Like, the Time Locks is the only thing that does damage. Now we see a lot of mana exhausted on Eosin. He's going to be looking to smoke with Merlini, but has to wait to get a little bit of extra fuel for that Wraithfire Blast as I look towards mid lane, where Chibi just went aggressive with that waveform and now does not have enough mana until he pops the regen room. We'll see if it's in time. Oh no, they're flanking. They're flanking around towards bottom lane instead.
Yeah, they rotate down bottom. Aosin has a Clarity on, so he does have mana for the stun now. They'll go for the dive. Of course, they miss a kill up top while this is going on, but we'll catch Winter taking a tumble. A 3-on-1. He might be tanky with 2 points in the Kraken Shell, but will it be enough to survive? I don't think so. He's on the run. He's sucking down the regen. He's still alive, but doesn't have a TP scroll on him. He buys 2, spends all of his gold before he goes down. Winter's in no man's land. At this point, it's just all about wasting time. How long can he keep Koi from farming? And...
a long time.
Longer than he should be able to here. This quite the swashbuckling battle there in the trees. But, of course, Void does come out victorious, and now Corey gets a kill under his belt.
Yeah, now Rubik on the top lane is going to pull back Sharky, but still he's in a really bad spot. The Shackles will come through after this Cold Snap, and this should be a second death for Bambo. We already fed one away, looking for the neutral deny. Will get it with the Shockwave coming through, since there are 3 heroes in range. The creeps betray Johnny, and that is going to be Zephyr pulling ahead to some small extent as they effectively have 1 less death on the board.
Yes, absolutely. But the offlane Rubik seems to be Strug City up there. You know, you mentioned it's a 1v3 essentially. Johnny in the jungle hasn't spent too much time in the lane, but the threat is there. And Sexy Bambo will just waddle his way back up towards the top. Brown boots and tangos right now. But 5 CS under his belt. I mean, at what point should Bambo just consider moving around to the other lanes and abandon this top lane?
I mean, I think it's okay for him to just kind of hold position if he's not in the danger zone. But right now, with this smoke moving through, even though they saw it coming, like, it's so difficult to survive against this kind of pincer formation. He doesn't have a TP, so he is stuck here. But fortunately for him, the nighttime makes it very difficult for Johnny to feel confident in this. So maybe moving in the Satyr to harass, but it's not going to be really committing them in full to a kill, especially not with Eosin rotating up to the top lane.
Yep, and the Centaur already died to the Wrath of Time. So that will be an unsuccessful smoke gang coming from the Enchantress. So far, Johnny has not been so active in terms of kills. Only level 2, has absolutely no items to his name right now, with 700 gold in savings. So, slow start for the Enchantress, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how he's going to build up either. Like, it doesn't seem like this is a game where he can go too greedy. You're already trying to fuel the Invoker Midas as well as whatever the Morphling needs, and these are two heroes that don't come online for quite some time. The Midas is huge for the Invoker, but it does set him back as far as like his early stats, his early durability in particular. And of course, Morphling's one of those heroes that has always been a little bit behind the curve as far as really becoming active. So the fact that Blitz is continuously contesting him for farm, and now Chibi might even be forced back to base, it really does seem like this Enchantress needs to make things happen sooner rather than later.
Yep. Well, mid lane seems to be a pretty even trade. Both Blitz and Morphling within 1 or 2 creep kills of each other. Blitz is now level 6, soon to be 7, and picks up the Arcane Boots as he walks over to the side shop, or secret shop rather. So his farm is okay. It looks just pretty even across the board. Zephyr with a very small gold lead and experience just about zeroed out. 6 minutes in, all tied up 2-2. There was that one deny to the neutrals from Rubik that we saw, but everyone's farming pretty evenly. Void and Invoker are in comparable position ones here, and they're dead even, right around 30, 32 CS. And even the offlaners, tied in Rubik, both 12 CS apiece.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how well this Midas really pays off for Invoker. Like I said, Polasan can use these spells so effectively. So I'm really curious to see like the timing when he gets that Meteor Deafening Blast combo up, if it's going to be 1 Wex, 2 Wex, the amount of damage factors that can come into play. Because without a BKB, like you can 100 to 0 most carries with the right combo of abilities from the Invoker. But Polasan, he's going to take some time to come online. For now, he's just looking for a Sunstrike snipe, and not really any have prevented themselves so far.
And Corey, is he angling for a Midas here? He did complete the Power Tread's first item. I think this is a game where he could get away with the Midas if he was so inclined. No Invoker's going Midas at this point. He has it picked up. And just based on how passive this game has been, it strikes me as the type of game where you want to get those farming tools earlier rather than later in case you're going to have to take it late.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind the Midas, and I wouldn't complain if he did go for it, but I personally prefer the Mask of Madness here. The thing about Chronosphere versus Tidehunter is that Kraken Shell's block does not take effect during Chrono. It actually negates it. So he can actually do a ton of damage with Mask of Madness during Chrono and could probably get a solo kill just with that cooldown.
Okay, yeah, that's one of those fun little mechanic interactions there. We'll hold that thought, though, as in the mid lane, the wraparound will commence. Stretch Armstrong shackles into a Sunstrike will be more than enough to bring down Blitz. Witch Doctor is nearby, and he gets chopped down as well. It's an easy 2-0 as JR rotate 4 of their heroes towards the mid lane. And may try and transition this into a tower push. Glyph comes out right away from Zephyr, and Bambo rotates his way over. He is now level 6, so has Spell Steal, has picked up a Cold Snap. And, well, JR will start chipping at this tower, but they don't have a huge amount of pushing power. Rasta's still not quite level 6.
Yeah, without the Enchantress creeps and without the wards, the tower's not going to go anywhere. But, I mean, just going in and getting those 2 kills, getting the Ravage available before even farming up Tide's Ancient Stack, they're actually in a very active position where if they just respond to the right fight, get a TP to the right position, they can start pulling them massively ahead in kills.
Yeah. That's true. And Morphling's farm is definitely pretty solid here. He's at 3.8k and doesn't have a farm accelerator, but still number 2 on net worth, second only to that of Invoker, who is the lone Midas carrier. So just speaking to, even though Blitz has been farming well, it was sort of a mutual bit of solid farming. Now Morphling has picked up 2 kills.
Sexy Bambo got morph just now. He's jumped up to almost 1200 HP just now.
Yep, there you go.
That's immense. He's
morphed it all. Finally found it. That is one tanky Bambo. The only problem with this is you have no armor. Negative 1 physical damage resistance.
But if you do the math on it, if you just buy a chainmail, it's like getting like an Eagle Song for the same price. Like you get so much. The amount of agility to armor, it makes it a very invaluable stat on Rubik. And now he's going to go ahead and steal it again, just for good measure. And yeah, just in this position, he's tanky as I'll get out, though physical will impact him very substantially for the time being.
Yeah, definitely so. And, well, that will repel Chibi for now. The rest of JR up top, they want this tier 1 tower, and I think they'll find it. Double Centaurs coming out from the Enchantress. Shadow Shaman still not 6, but they don't even need the wards for this. Zephyr will make a rotation up, but they won't get here in time to keep their tower alive. They are smoked, looking for a fight. Winter does have a Ravage ready. Bambo gets Cold Snap to start off the fight, but the follow-up isn't there, and it doesn't even proc any stuns. Tower falls, and it's a wasted smoke from Zephyr as Johnny's Revenge make the retreat.
So in this position, I'm not really sure what Zephyr can really accomplish other than just playing passively and farming up. Because if they start getting aggressive, that's when the Ravage just starts decimating them. I mean, yes, Rubik is soon to be in a position where he can have the blink at the same time as the Tide, and therefore he can go ahead and steal Ravage when it comes out. But it's a waiting game for right now. They want to hold. They want to just keep as many towers alive as possible. But as soon as those wards come out, as Sharky's about to hit 6 with this creep, they're probably going to make their way to mid lane.
Yeah, looks like it. Starting to group a bit. Johnny is now 5, has brown boots and 1,800 gold. He could be looking for, I don't want to call it a recovery Midas, but a slightly delayed Midas here. After that first tower push, he's had quite a bit of recovery. In the mid, Chibi in some trouble, gets telekinesed back, doesn't have a wave for him, but they just don't have the damage to bring him down through the morph. And he'll survive. Now Johnny's Revenge moving into the Roche pit. Enchantress with no points in Untouchable. Will make this Roche a little bit more difficult than it otherwise could be, but they will expend Rost awards for it and slowly bring him down. No minus armor on the Roche. I don't see a medallion, but the wards just add so much damage.
Yeah, it'll be slow going, but there's no threat because of Winter's availability of Ravage. So in this position, they'll take it. They'll take it slow, but they will take it indeed. And that Aegis, I guess, on the Morphling would be really good. Yeah. The cool thing about Aegis on Morphling is that you can essentially be nearly full agility with your first life and not have to play defensively until your second one. So you can be very active. It's better when you have more ranks in Adaptive Strike, but even still, even now, he is going to be a very hard individual to bring down twice.
Yep. And he is well on his way to his Lincolns, working on the Perseverance. That has enough gold for it. And it was a Midas that came out on the Enchantress. So now JR, that's 2 Midas to 0. And they are gearing up to have those farming tools towards the late game. Faceless Void not going for the hand of Midas. He will take heed to your advice with the Mask of Madness. Drops the ultimate onto Paulison. Merlini nearby in the tree line with a Death Ward. More than enough damage to bring down the Invoker. And Zephyr get another kill up on the scoreboard. Nicely done. Yeah,
and pretty much the best target to bring down at this stage. Obviously, it's going to cost them their mid-tier 1 tower, but all the same, getting a hero kill of level 10 is just going to be bringing your Void closer to Chronosphere 2 and Chronosphere 3, and he's just going to be in a very active position in general because he's getting that much experience gain and a decent amount of gold as well. We do see Merlini kind of jiving and juking, but the hasted Morphling should be able to run him down.
Yeah, unfortunate positioning from Merlini. Walked right into Sharky, and then the haste rune makes that a very easy kill. Sharky could walk into the danger zone here. Bambo steals Hex as he telekinesis him back. Will turn him into a chicken as Corey pops the Mask of Madness and goes to chase him down. Sharky trying to kite best he can, but it just doesn't matter. Takes a bash to the face, and Zephyr will grab another kill.
What's Johnny doing? He's got like a baby Ursa, and he's going up against people with 3 stuns. That is...
Yeah, that's a potato, not a tomato. That was... His team wasn't anywhere to be found. They were pushing bottom that whole time. Maybe that was a sacrificial space creation, but... Odd pathing from Johnny, to say the least.
I'm not buying it. I was just saying it's a misclick, because this is a pretty important game for them. Right now, having lost 1 to Zephyr, as far as I understand it, the tournament makes it so this is elimination for them. They have to win 2.
Yeah. Single a limb. No mess, no fuss. You lose, you're out. That's it. Scary stuff. Now the Perseverance is up for Morphling. He's also level 11 with 2,200 gold in the bank. So just a recipe away from that Lincoln's. And then Chibi will start to come online a little bit. Invoker's still just farming away as well, topping the net worth charts at about 7.8k. And let's look at the gold graph. Zephyr behind by a pretty staggering margin, almost 7,500 gold, but only 500 experience. Of course, some of that is in towers. Fair bit of that is in towers, actually, but... Oh, Sunstrike hits Merlini. Chibi looking to follow up, connects with the waveform. Bambo there with the telekinesis will push him back, and Merlini will survive. The power of friendship keeps Merlini alive.
Yep. So that's going to be nice for them trying to hold the tower. If they lost the Witch Doctor there, it would be very difficult, but now they've got Chronosphere, they've got their Death Ward. They're looking to turn around a fight. Essentially, they can't start anything very effectively, but they certainly can finish it. Now going for a little bit of disassemble action right before Chibi sees him. Blitz going to be running this Soul Booster for a bit, and Sexy Bambo picking up the Sunstrike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Chrono.
Oh, here it is, right on to Paulson. The Sunstrike will be on the money, and Invoker will get a taste of his own medicine, and it doesn't taste good. A 1-for-0 trade here in the mid lane. Well, actually, okay, still a 1-for-0, but Aosin does proc his ultimate. Level 1, long cooldown on that reincarnation, but he will come back to life. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Blitz pressing forward, will Timber Chain forward, wants to find a kill onto Sharky. Sharky will just try and TP home, but Bambo showing off that Blink Dagger, interrupts him with the telekinesis, and secures the kill. That'll be a 2-for-0 as they defend that top tier 2 tower. And Morphling just heads back to safety. So
yeah. And unfortunately, that's the problem with greedy supports now, is that like they don't really have the impact that they wanted to in the early game, and as a result, like they're not accomplishing too much. The Tide was forced to mech so that he can't get the Blink Dagger, and that means that Bambo now has initiation range against them that's far superior. Winter, like, he would love to be able to participate in these team fights and be active, but mobility-wise, he's just a big tank. Like, he gets there and he can do so much work, but they can just outmaneuver. They're faster, and right now they're stronger, so they can just continuously farm, find those pickoffs, and gain this early lead.
Yeah, Tide not really known for his speed before the Blink Dagger, that's for darn sure. Morphling is getting very close to this Linken's, though. 3,300 gold up on him. Morphling will steal Rubik will steal Morph from the Morphling once again, but doesn't really... I guess if you steal it again, you can get that extra little bit of agility that you get from level ups back into strength, so it is worth it to continue stealing it as you get more XP.
But now that negative armor is really hurting him, because these Forge Spirits are actually doing the melting strikes and bringing Sexy Bimbo lower and lower. He's in the negatives very quickly. But they'll kill off the Necro and now try to hold against the wards.
Yep, Rasta wards come down, as you mentioned, and JR committing to a push. It is a 4-hero rotation. Morphling coming around the backside. And Chibi, is he hasted up? Yeah, he sure is. He'll fly right in. Merlini falls to get things started, but they pick off Johnny to start. Winner connects with a Ravage. Will slow down Blitz, but he Timber Chains away. He'll be all right for now. Chibi may turn and try and drop the hammer. The hammer has been dropped, and Blitz will survive as he Timber Chains to the high ground. Aegis has been procced. Aosin now on the defensive. Zephyr will lose their tier 2 tower to the Wrath of the Rasta wards, but it's a 2-for-1 trade, and they grab the Aegis. Not too bad, but now they need to defend this tier 3, as Johnny's Revenge will exact it on these structures.
I'm not so sure about this push right here. They don't have Ravage. Void is coming back up. Has buyback, but I'm not sure if they're going to commit it. Either way, Winter dropping low will pop the mech, but yeah, they'll get some chip damage, but they have to get out quickly. Bambo in pursuit, gets the TK, and that should be the death pulse on.
Oh, he gets the Linken's. That buys him a little bit of time, but even a Maledict comes out from the Witch Doctor, and Merlini says, look at it go, secures the kill. And they grab a recovery kill on the Invoker. Pretty decent damage on this tier 3 tower. I don't know if the death on Invoker was worth the damage, but they almost got away with it scot-free.
That's true, but I don't think that you can ever underestimate the potential for people to re-engage with Blink Daggers and with long-range abilities like Time Walks. They got some damage, and that is to be commended if they can take the tower within the next like 5 to 6 minutes. But otherwise, like, you look at this 10, 20 minutes down the road, it's like, okay, the tower got hurt, but it didn't die. Unless they got some amazing Radoda that I've never seen from heroes like Shadow Shaman, then that's not going to really amount to too much. And for right now, it's going to be Zephyr to take the forceful advantage. They have the Chrono, Mask of Madness, and they do have the Death Ward. So 1 tower down, and control of the map for now.
Baby steps, but like you said, first tower they grab, and small little gold boost going their way. Chibi in the bottom lane, we saw the Linken's, now has the Ghost Scepter. Quite a ways off the E-Blade, but on his way there. Tier 2 tower in the mid, now taking pressure from Zephyr, and they won't back up until they have to. They get the tower down to about half health. Invoker sends all of his units in. They get cleaned up by Blitz, and now Zephyr just look for the opening. As you mentioned, the big ultimates available, Chronosphere and Death Ward. And here we go. Corey with the Chrono, straight onto Johnny and Paulson. There's the Death Ward from Merlini, but doesn't do a hell of a lot. Secures the kill onto Enchantress.
Wow.
And now they'll press forward. Sharky in trouble, Winter as well as Paulson. Paulson gets off the cold snap, but Blitz will still secure the kill. It's just Winter and Chibi versus the world.
Even
and
still,
the two of them
that
will survive.
That Morphling had double damage, was able to clean up very quickly with some burst magical and physical damage. So they not only do not take the tier 2, they lose the bottom tier 2, and then essentially draw even in the fight. So it was great, Chrono, and the Death Ward did bring down 1 very easily, and that was great. But that was probably, like, you want to dramatically win the fights that Ravage isn't involved in. And in that, they barely went out ahead in the fights. And as far as tower control goes, they lost out. Chibi is getting huge, almost 12K on the net worth chart.
Yeah, he really is. He's just had a lot of space to farm, and now halfway to that Eagle song, which, of course, will yield the E-Blade. He's been doing a good job just finding places to farm, and that fight is the perfect way to handle it. Like you mentioned, get the tower and then join the party. I didn't notice the double damager until after the fight was over, but that would explain why the Zephyr heroes were just getting melted. Hard to see on the Morphling. He's too blue.
True, that's true. Maybe a stealth buff from the kind of sea green elemental that it used to be.
But yeah, it's like the invisible wisp. He looks almost exactly the same. I don't know how you make particles more transparent, so it is the struggle is real, I suppose. But BKB coming out for the Faceless Void. He'll find the replicate here, the Enchantress, and they will bring it down. But Corey has the BKB complete, actually. So Magic Immunity live on the Faceless Void. Merlini working on the Ag Scepter, and actually not too far away, the huge bouncing Death Ward. Only about 1,300 gold to go. And that will be possibly a game changer. Chibi up top. Nope, he'll just TP home. No problemo.
Yeah, if they had seen him, they might have been able to bring him down by popping the linkage with Force Staff or Fade Bolt and then going for the telekinesis, but because he's just kind of living life on the edge, trying to do things discreetly, he's actually able to survive and flourish. Now we see the Blink Dagger on Tidehunter, enabling them to possibly go for the Ravage in the future, and we do see the BKB picked up on the Void to try to negate it.
Yep. So, Zephyr, how bad of a spot are they in right now? It's about a 9,000-ish gold deficit, but Zephyr actually have the experience lead. So, most of that is tower gold, and I guess once they knock down these towers, we'll see Zephyr, like, really gain some momentum here as it levels out. But I guess the key will be taking a good team fight between now and then. Roshan just about to respawn, so whoever wins this team fight will be able to move into the Roche Pit. Both teams smoked up on opposite sides of the high ground. It's getting tense, and they'll pop forward. Winter with a Ravage on 5. It doesn't get better than that to start off a fight. The meatball comes flying down. Sexy Bambo falls to get it started. Timbersaw grabs a kill on the Shadow Shaman, but he's already put the wards down. Merlini with the Death Ward pulsing through, gets picked off by Chibi as he waveforms forward. It's a 2-for-1 so far. Aosin moving into the pit. That'll be the second kill onto him. He's already used his reincarnation, and he'll stay dead this time. It's a 1-for-3, and now JR grab themselves an uncontested Roshan kill as they move right into the pit.
And just conveniently respawns right there, and then he's just like, hey, come on and kill me. Gotta be stuck to be that big guy, but even worse, Zephyr with that fight, that Ravage initiation. If essentially it's down to a second there. If the Eosin stun connects on Winter and he doesn't blink, dodge it, and go for the Ravage, things get very dicey where Rubik can reposition, try to spell steal, and of course they can't prevent the Ravage because of Kraken Shell, but they might as well turn it right back around against their opponents. And that would have enabled a really good death word from Merlini, but instead they get initiated on hardcore, and they have their backs against the wall. The comeback potential, as you mentioned, is real. They can take towers, they can take fights, but with this Ethereal Blade online, with how many losses they've incurred thus far, and now the Aegis to deal with from Polisan, it's very difficult to take a full 5-on-5.
Chibi waveforms right into Blitz, and that's not what Blitz was hoping for. The shotgun off the mark, and they will proc the Linkens as Bambo pops forward. Now Corey pops the Chronosphere, Winter on the other side of it. And they won't have the damage to bring down Chibi. Corey, with the BKB on, will stand his ground. They want Chibi, and they will have him. That's a dead Morphling. And maybe Zephyr can turn the tides now following this fight. Time walk forward, right onto Johnny. And that will be the end of their Wraith King. Blitz secures the kill onto the Enchantress as well. Now Aosin, caught in the telekinesis. Pardon me, that's not Aosin. That's Paulison. Wrong Sin. But he does get off the Ghost Walk.
Oh,
so
no.
little
He
avail.
doesn't have Ghost Walk now.
Procs the Aegis, and can they kill him a second time? Nope, he'll blink back. But still a great fight for Zephyr. Exactly what they needed. They pick off the Morphling and get the Aegis. No, it's not done yet. Tidehunter now. He gets dropped. And Bambo pressing forward, thinking about Paulison, but won't be able to find it. No armor for you. He's scared of those Forge Spirits.
Yeah, that was an unnecessary death, unfortunately, at the end there. But I gotta give props to Merlini there, getting off the full death ward, essentially. In that scenario, it's so difficult. There are so many heroes with those stuns and disables available to counteract it, and he was able to perfectly time it where the Invoke was on cooldown, so it can get snapped, and in general, like, oh, gotta watch the Sunstrike in mid. But yeah, in general, he was able to just completely get that Death Ward and zone them out at the very least, if not deal considerable amounts of damage. So he survives for the fight. He's going to have his Aghanim Scepter very shortly if he doesn't get sniped, and that is going to be a game changer when the Chronos and perhaps Ravage Steels come out.
Yeah, the 4 bounces, if you can catch... Basically, anyone inside the Chrono will take some massive physical damage here. If only they had some minus armor to synergize with it. An Assault Cuirass, if someone could farm it, would be amazing to try and buff up that Witch Doctor damage a little bit. But Zephyr, on their road, maybe not on the road to recovery here, but leveling things out and regaining a bit of momentum. It's still a 10,000 gold lead, but maybe the experience graph telling a slightly more accurate tale of how this game has been unfolding. That is the Ag Scepter now on the Witch Doctor, who is also level 11. So getting those bounces and all of that extra damage. Pretty solid timing here. 25 minutes, not too bad for a support Witch Doctor.
Yeah, so it really is a lot on the Morphling shoulders here. Chibi can essentially pick off the Witch Doctor 100 to 0 during his combo. The Waveform, the Adaptive Strike, and Ethereal Blade, not in that order, will be able to single out almost any one person. Maybe not Rubik since he's so tanky with Nullfield and the Stolen Strength, but even still, you can single out the Void, hoping he doesn't BKB early enough, or you can just single out the Witch Doctor and bring him at least 90% of the way down. So if he can utilize that potential to its fullest, he can really just shut down any potential for Zephyr to come back. But yeah, the potential for Zephyr is real, and if they defend on the high ground and take the fight that they intend to, that might work out for them.
Yeah. Well, all the big ultimates are available. Ravage, Serpent Wards, ready to rock and roll, but same story for Zephyr. Oh, Corey, caught in an awkward position. Winter throws out the Ravage. It'll be a dead Faceless Void. He gets caught completely off guard from the rotations of JR. Now they'll dive the Tier 2 tower. Merlini gets caught by the shotgun, but a nice Force Staff will keep him alive. Throws out the paralyzing cask, and there's the Death Ward from the high ground doing a ton of damage here. It's Merlini with the plays. Oh, boy. Merlini turning it around completely. He only gets a double kill out of it, but secures 4 kills on the side of JR, and it ends up being a 1 for 4 as they overcommit. Wards will get cleaned up as well for a little bit of extra gold. That is the power of the Ag Scepter Witch Doctor.
That was the Force Staff of the Center there from Bambo. He would have been dead to the Waveform, but he forces him to the high ground. Witch Doctor in a perfect spot. They don't even have vision on him to cancel it, and he just incinerates them. That was beautiful. Couldn't start the fight off a worse way, not getting the BKB off on the Void. That's a 9-second BKB and a Chronosphere that can do a lot of work, but they say, no big deal. We don't need it. Merlini carry.
We got this, yeah. And now, Faceless Void switching gears after the BKB straight into the Ag Scepter, has a point booster and 600 gold to boot. So once that Chronosphere gets upgraded, that short cooldown, we'll be seeing Death Ward Chronospheres pretty much every 80 seconds, I reckon. That's what they're banking for. Wow.
Yeah, and it synergizes really well with other cooldowns that they have. The 80-second cooldown on Death Ward is insanely powerful, and if they can take the most advantage of that, they can fight so many more times than the Tidehunter can, like with so much more frequency. So they are really just absolutely bringing this back, and it's going to be all about the team fights from here. Gold, experience, the totals don't really matter. Chibi has to make use of his income and not just have it on his own person.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But the Force Staff really did turn the tides there. The shotgun on Merlini would have, if that shotgun had landed on Merlini, it would have been a completely different story. Blitz, by the way, is up to 20 charges on this Bloodstone. 5, 1, and 8. And since he picked it up, he has been very active. Now has the Shiva's Guard as well. Zephyr take out the top Tier 1 tower, and they continue keeping on as they move into the Tier 2 here in the top lane and start to level out this gold deficit a little bit. It looks like this Tier 2 tower will fall uncontested from JR. No glyph available. They had to burn it to try and keep the Tier 1 safe. And instead, they'll pressure the Tier 3 down bottom. Rasta Wards come out. They force out the glyph. And Zephyr, they need to TP back and clear this up.
Yeah, unfortunately, aren't able to steal the Serpent Wards back, which is very common if the Shadow Shaman doesn't have a proper target. But he Ether Shocks, he blinks out, and they're just going to clean it up. So some gold for Corey, but I think it was actually a pretty good play. They force the offensive of Zephyr back to their home base. They get some decent damage on the tower, and now they have 2 Tier 3s that are below 700 HP. So they have multiple angles of attack. They can just find the opening, and here it is on Sexy Bambo. No, too tanky. Thank you, Morphling.
And now Corey, he pops the ultimate. They want this kill on Paulus, and even a Death Ward for this. They really wanted that Invoker, and they'll get it. Okay, they punished that overcommitment pretty darn hard.
And Rubik's about to pick up an Aghanims of his own. He just got to 1800 HP on a Rubik at 30 minutes.
That is. And he even has some agility to be morphed should he steal morph once more. Oh, wow.
It's absolutely unreal how good a Rubik is versus a Morphling if he can just get a couple good steals. And the Morphling hasn't even bothered covering his morph at all. Like, he's just like, you've gotten it 3 times, so I might as well just morph anytime I feel like it now. And
yeah,
it's pretty much
point,
true.
Yeah.
Even though he still, like you said, he still has 10 agility to spare.
Yeah. So Faceless Void now super close to that Ag Scepter, also hitting level 16, so we'll just naturally lower the cooldown. There is a double stack of Ancients here he'll be able to clean up, and that'll get him within probably 200 gold or so from those last remaining pieces he needs. Merlini now working towards a BKB, has the Ogre Club, still a ways off completing it, but steps in the right direction. Blitz now with a Vitality booster, probably looking for a Rod of Atos there. And Blade Mail on Eosin. What's Bambo got? Oh, that's the Ag Scepter we talked about. Blink, Force Staff, and Ags. Very mobile, very tanky Rubik with a ton of utility. Smoke from Zephyr. They hop forward. They find Winter. There's a Ravage available here, but can they bring him down? Death Ward. Is it enough damage? The Kraken Shell helping him out, but can't keep him alive, and Corey will secure the kill.
Still have to defend bottom, though. The Rat is real. Chibi pretty much has to go full Rat Dota mode. He has to pick off one person with his combo and then just go for the towers. That's pretty much the only way he can pull this one out in my mind, because a brute force fight against this Chronosphere that's going to be shorter cooldown now that Faceless Void has his Ags, and everything else that Zephyr brings, it's just too much.
Yep. It's getting rough. How is the farm here on Chibi? Okay, he's got the next ultimate orb. Probably a Manta style for him to help commence with the pushing and just get some more illusions out on the field. Now, he is getting scarier, but how are we looking on net worth? He's still holding number 1. 15, 16K, but Blitz is nipping at his heels. 14.5K on this Timbersaw. And wow, another 2,600 gold up on him already. Zephyr will just head to the mid. Blitz will tank it, no problemo. But once that backdoor protection gets off.
Shiva's plus reactive armor, he literally doesn't take any damage. It's insane. But yeah, bottom lane, that's where it's at. And another set of wards are coming down from Sharky.
Yeah, the slow siege is real, but now Corey comes in, he finds Chibi. Pops the Chronosphere, but he doesn't have enough damage by his lonesome. Can anyone join him and make this happen? Bambo's here, but he'll hop to the replicate. And this tier 3 tower will stay standing just barely. 50 hit points.
Oh, no.
Even less. It actually is going to die to the siege creep. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, slowly but surely. Too bad they can't punish JR's Rat Dota a little bit harder. Morphling's just too darn tanky.
Yeah, and of course very mobile. Like the replicant, as long as that's at his disposal, he's able to jump across the map in a moment. And I don't know. I mean, some insane levels of silence. If you can chew through, what is it? I can't even do the math on it right now, but it's like some absurd amount of strength. Like you're talking in the 160, 170 range of strength. If you can chew through that in the duration of an Orchid plus Chrono, then maybe you can kill him, but it seems unlikely. Though they are going to get a nice steal on the replicant. That's a 215 base damage replicant, of course. Not the same percentages, coefficients, but even still, it's nice.
Yep. This hero has no upgrade. Always a sad thing to see on a spell when you have a Rubik with an Aghanim Scepter. Such a rare treat for you to see the Grand Magus with the upgraded ultimate. Roshan respawned a while ago. Neither side has been too eager to hop into the pit. Of course, this is third Rosh, so cheese is a reality. But Zephyr looking for an opening here. They're getting slightly aggressive in the mid lane. And the Blueberry Knight, he's got Polison's Scythe of Vice delivered here. So now Invoker, first real big item after the Blink Necro is the Scythe.
Yeah, but Sharky's pushing up here. He's got the wards coming down in 3 seconds, and that damage that they did, oh goodness, 20 minutes ago has finally taken its toll. As he's able to take down the tier 3 quickly and force the Fortify as he starts chipping the racks. He should be focusing the range racks here because, of course, melee regens, but no matter. Corey's forced back, and they're going to go for the Roshan. Since Corey cannot possibly be in this team fight, they get an easy Roshan.
Yeah, very nicely done by Johnny's Revenge here, splitting them around the map. Like you said, recognizing that the Chronosphere can only be in one place at one time, and now they will be rewarded with some yummy cheese. That's a big old chicken, and the Aegis goes the way of Morphling, and cheese will go the way of Invoker, it looks like.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is I don't really think that changes their combat situation as far as a full 5-on-5 goes, you either kill the Void off without him getting anything done, or you lose the fight. And Cheese and Aegis doesn't really change that fact. It just makes it easier for Chibi to move around the map and feel confident in it.
Yeah, you're definitely right about, though, in the context of this setup, it doesn't really matter if you have a second life. If you get wrecked by the Void, you get wrecked by the Void. And he adds his Ag Scepter, now 1,700 gold up, so Corey will start moving into more damage items from here, I reckon. Could possibly go full utility into the Refresher, but that build's been a little bit more of a rarity, and I'm not super crazy about the Ags into Refresher. We'll see where he goes from here, though. Definitely has a lot of options. And the Manta is now complete on Chibi.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still plenty of item progression potential for Morphling here. You can go kind of like for the Scotty, maybe Butterfly, though of course the evasion is muted by Chrono. But in general, like, I would almost like expect him to go for like a Necro 3 strat or something like that, because the only thing that matters is the base. As far as his amount of damage in the team fight, the agility is great for like insta-gibbing with his combo, and that's still important. But the bottom line is how much structural damage he can do, because I don't see them like killing off all 5 of Zephyr and then anybody who can buy back as well, unless they have like the most insane combo with Tidehunter's Refresher.
Yeah. Now, what's going to be extra scary in this team fight is Merlini has a BKB. Fresh 10 seconds has yet to be used. So even if they don't get off that perfect money chrono, Merlini can kind of just charge in there, pop the BKB, and at least do some decent damage with this Death Ward. But Zephyr will 5 hero smoke towards the top, and already JR posturing towards this bottom lane, ready to push in as soon as they see the Zephyr heroes revealed. Unfortunately for Zephyr, this smoke won't yield a hell of a lot, as JR grouped up about the mid and the bottom lanes. This smoke will not be successful.
Bottom lane was a complete whiff. There was a replicant that was, of course, stolen by Rubik, and it was a replicant of Timbersaw, so it's pretty tanky with 100% HP. They go in, they go for the full combo, Meteor, Deafening Blast, and the Ethereal Blade, and they just kill off an illusion that was going to die in 10 seconds. Oh,
yeah, I see the cooldowns. I totally missed it.
No, I mean, it's an illusion pickoff, but it just feels so sad when you commit that much to it and you get absolutely nothing.
And you go, oh, wait, just an illusion. Damn it, my medicine does not taste good. The replicates are kind of hard to tell. It's they're pretty tanky. But tier 2 tower in the mid will fall. The only outer towers remaining are actually the tier 1 and tier 2 in the bottom lane. For whatever reason, Zephyr have just not rotated down to that bottom lane to even take out the tier 1 tower. But oh, Aosin could be in some trouble. Tornado, EMP, both will connect, but the EMP drains half his mana, not enough to get him out of reincarnation range.
Yeah, the Void is getting really big right now. He is picking up the Maelstrom and buying out for it, so there is some small hole in the armor where you can kill him off once, he doesn't have buyback. But you were talking earlier about the BKB on Witch Doctor, and if he gets level 16 and is BKB'd, then like there's very little that JR could do unless they get both of them without BKB and ravage them twice and not get it stolen back. Like there's so many things that they need to have occur perfectly in order to win a single fight here, because they don't actually have any BKB piercing disables unless Johnny enchants a troll to trap him.
Yeah, and it's sort of sad to think that that's the only way they could interrupt it. The only other option is an Abyssal Blade, but they don't really have a natural Abyssal carrier. Paulson in the bottom lane will get initiated upon. Corey with the Chronosphere, and all the right clicks outside of the sphere will bring him down. It's actually Aosin that gets credit for that one. But with that, Zephyr might need to just head to the top lane to defend, as Morphling shoving in once again, using the Manta. They will at least get a tier 1 tower down here in this bottom lane, though.
Nice.
Nice. Nothing like those 40-minute tier 1 tower kills.
Value.
Dyer's bottom
yeah.
Just bank it up, save it for later.
Yeah. It's like those money bags. Blitz is the lone defender right now, and a good hero to do such, because he is tanky. A lot of HP, a lot of regen. Doesn't have a huge amount of magic armor, but that's okay. He can handle the Morphling. At least handle some of the Morphling.
Yeah, he's got the cloak, so I mean that's plenty. With the heart and the bloodstone, I don't think there's any way.
Oh, he does have the cloak. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally just tunnel visioned over the cloak. I don't know why I didn't see it there. I think I was looking for a Hood of Defiance. I was like, nah, it doesn't have one. All right, see you later. No magic armor. But tier 1 tower in the bottom lane falls. They did actually use the glyph on that as well. Aegis expires in about 50 seconds. So Zephyr probably should not be looking to take a fight right now. If they could just be a little more passive, wait for, well, I guess Morphling's not there anyhow. He has a replicate up. About to expire. Morphling won't jump to it, so he's now isolated in the bottom lane unless he wants to TP in. Chronosphere comes out. Death Ward as well. Enchantress first to fall. Winner pops the Ravage, at least the first one. And all they do is...
There he gets it. He stole it.
Oh, yeah, Rubik got it. All right, and that'll be Aosin coming back up. There's the stolen Ravage coming out. And now JR could be in some trouble. Bambo, nowhere to go. He's completely overcommitted, and although it was a stolen Ravage, he will lose it. And it'll just be a Merlini and Bambo death. It seems everyone else will make it out with their TPs. So not really ideal from Zephyr. Merlini didn't pop his BKB before using the Death Ward there. Wanted to save the 10-second charge, but the Ravage still clipped him and interrupted it.
Really? Yeah, I think that was actually quite a misplay because there's, I mean, 9 seconds is still plenty for Death Ward, 8 seconds still plenty of Death Ward. There's no, if you're going to be getting the channel off on targets, then there's no reason not to BKB it. So unfortunate, but it wasn't the most costly of fights. They got the Enchantress to buy back. They didn't expend any of their own. And as I said before, their cooldowns are so damn short. Chronosphere's back up. BKB's back up on Void in 20 seconds. And Merlini doesn't have to really worry about the error of his ways because he gets another opportunity in a mere few seconds. Along with that, the Aegis did expire in that duration. Not that they were going to kill Chibi anytime soon or that he would put himself out there as such, but it's just another thing to take away.
Yep. Absolutely. So I did actually miss the buyback on Enchantress and the chaos of that fight. So a little better for Zephyr than I had initially thought. Enchantress is starting to get a little scary, though. She's now level 16. That Hand of Midas has more than paid for itself as an Aghanims, Mask of Madness, and a Ghost Scepter have popped into her inventory. So she can actually lay in some pretty serious right clicks with that impetus. Up top, uh-oh, sexy Bambo takes a Meteor to the face. Looking for a spell still here, but we'll only get the Chaos Meteor. Not too bad, I suppose.
Null Field's pretty insane. That was like, you get the full Meteor, it's supposed to do insane amounts of damage, but you get the Null Field passive, 20% mitigation. He's got over 2100 HP. He just shrugs it off.
Rubik, the Grand Tank.
Just about. He's about to pick up a BKB of his own.
Yeah, pretty darn close. 200 gold or so away from the recipe.
And one question for you is, how does Winter commit to a Ravage up against a BKB Aghanims Rubik? Like, how can it not be stolen? It almost seems impossible.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So
I don't know.
Three heroes you need to do bestly. You need to kill off the Void without him BKBing, the Witch Doctor without him BKBing, and the Rubik without him BKBing. I don't know.
This is rough. The 3 BKBs make things a lot more difficult for Winter. It kind of mitigates the Refresher a bit, too. We saw in that last fight, the second Ravage, it just felt like, I don't know what I'm getting at here, but it's going to get even more difficult as more BKBs come out.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot easier to cover the first, I think, is the big thing that you got to think of. Is, like, you go for the first Ravage, you know the positioning exactly, but the second one, it was hesitated, and if you click on Rubik real quick, highlight Spellsteal, and zoom out, Aghanim Scepter gives Spellsteal the most absurd range you've ever seen.
Oh. Wow.
And it's so hard to cover it, and now the BKB makes it impossible.
Yeah, that's really long. I knew it was a nice bump in the range, but that seems absurd how far away you can be and still steal spells. Like, there aren't too many other spells that can hit you from that range, you know?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Huh.
That's pretty insane. Good item on Rubik. Bambo has found a lot of farm this match, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't even enhance, like, anything but the Serpent Wards. But it doesn't matter, because the cooldown range is okay, mid.
Oh, they find Chibi. They proc the Lincolns. They throw the Meatball down, and even a Death Ward for this. They want to bring him down through the Morph. They have the damage, and it's worth it. Does the Morphling have a buyback? No, he doesn't. Seconds. He's 80 gold short. Oh, no. This could be bad for JR.
Just bought the Scotty. 100 gold, and this would be different, but, man, does he need that 75.
Wow. This is really devastating. This Morphling has so much of their farm, and he'll be stuck dead for maybe not the full duration, but no, it will be. He'll have just enough gold to buy back right around the time he comes back up. First Ravage from Winter flies through, procs the Reincarnate from Aosin. Tornado, EMP comes in. Of course, there's no Death Ward available here. Winter does have the next, or has his Refresher available, and will use it. Does have a Ravage now. Blitz coming in, takes a Cold Snap, and they do force out the Rasta Wards.
Winter died. Maledict finished him off at the fountain.
Oh, no. Now Sharky in big trouble as they hop forward. Bambo will finish him off with a Fade Bolt. Johnny laying in the right clicks into Blitz. And will survive for now. Glyph has already come out, and now this Tier 3 tower will be fair game. Zephyr will grab at least a lane of racks here. Buyback status not looking so good. Tied 33 gold short. Rasta short some gold as well. And Morphling, now he has enough for the buyback, but only 10 seconds short. He'll save it, and it will cost him melee racks.
Yeah. The nice utility from Pulse on there. The EMP and Deafening Blast really inhibited their push quite a bit, but coming back into... Oh! The Blade Mail not enough. Johnny getting brought down by the Impetus.
Yeah, or brings him down with the Impetus, rather. Aosin takes a tumble as he commits to the base, and, well, Zephyr, they got what they came for. Mid lane of racks, they tried to be cheeky with the top, they chip at the Tier 3 tower. They're not out of the clear yet, but that just goes to show you. If the Morphling gets caught without buyback once more, that should be the game.
I don't see an easy way to win for JR. Even like an extremely difficult one is hard to find right now. It's all about Rat. It's all about getting in the right position with Mass Servant Wards and getting Chibi to just manta down a Rax. But for that, you need backdoor protection broken, and for that you need a creep wave. So they have to somehow just push out 3 lanes, hope one breaks backdoor protection, and somehow get in the base without Zephyr being able to respond. The Roche, it helps, but does it really... I honestly feel it's only like giving them a small percentage improvement in their already current situation.
Roshan has fallen to the
like 2 cheeses on Polasan. He didn't even use the last one 10 minutes ago, so he stacked them.
There you go. Some of that fermenting cheese. The longer you hold it, the yummier it gets. But 4th Roche for JR, as we saw, it doesn't really matter that much. All that Zephyr want to do right now is look for an opportunity to catch Chibi off guard and defend their base. And before, they just were able to defend his pushes and just kind of let it expire. I think if they have the resources to drop the Morphling, they'll probably be able to do it again. I don't know. Is Roche enough to start turning the tides back in favor of JR, do you think?
I don't think so, but at the same time, anything can happen. Obviously, these players are very experienced in and of themselves, and right now, it's kind of, because it's broken down away from 5v5, that's where they get to shine, is their own all-star playstyle. So Chibi, if he can find the appropriate movements where he can do some crazy base trade play, I still see something in this, like, the potential, but for the moment, even just as status quo, Zephyr are absolutely destroying this game.
Yep, and EMP will be off the mark as Zephyr make the retreat. All 5 of JR do rotate down. Chibi getting very aggressive. He'll waveform across the river. That's Scotty starting to come in handy. Blitz will turn, do as much damage as he can. Aosin procs the Lincolns. The rest of Zephyr coming in, and there's your ultimate, the Chronosphere. Where's Merlini with the Death Ward? He's on his way. He's slow to the party, but he's here. Death Ward comes out straight into Chibi, and this might be enough to bring down the Aegis. On the other side of the fight, Blitz has gone down, but the Invoker will fall. Chibi, very low, still has the Aegis. In comes Winter. There's your first Ravage. Has the mana for the second. Ravage number 2. That'll be enough to bring down Merlini. Void's already fallen, and Aosin, I don't think he'll be lucky enough to survive this one. Certainly won't. And it will end as a 1-for-3 exchange. No buybacks expended. And, oh no, sorry, buyback on the Invoker. So it's a 2-for-3, and they force a buyback.
That's quite stupendous for JR. I mean, obviously they had to commit the buyback BOT, but I mean, that's resources at your disposal. Unfortunately, just not for 5 more minutes here. So Polasan is going to rely on that cheese and that cheese alone to try to keep them up. In the meantime, that last Ravage was stolen by Sexy Bambo. He got out alive. He does have Ravage for a few minutes, and if he just blinks in, he can really make the next fight count. But for now, to overcome the odds, JR are actually able to take a fight in full and take a major advantage out of it.
Yeah, the saddest part about that fight for Zephyr is that they didn't burn the Aegis. Chibi got so low, but he still has a second life, and quite a while before it despawns. It's still at about half duration, and now the Rat will get even worse. BOT's up on the Morphling, who's also level 24. Chibi is pretty much at critical mass at this point. He'll have to wait for that Aegis to despawn before he can grab another item.
Ethereal Blade on the Invoker. The counter to Faceless Void, as Winter would say. He actually posted a video a little while back of like just buying like 2 or 3 Ethereal Blades on the team. Whenever the Chrono comes out, you actually Ethereal Blade the ally that he's targeting. So suddenly that person is unassailable by the Death Ward and unassailable by Faceless Void's auto attacks. It's actually quite an inventive solution, and I think that's the intention for Pulse on picking it up here.
Yep. And again, worth reiterating, you can't forget that the Death Ward does physical damage, so your Ghost Scepter E-Blade effects really come in handy on that front. Very interesting stuff. Bottom tier 2 tower falls, and that is the end of the outer towers this game on both sides of the coin. Zephyr will press forward, ready for this team fight. It is Sharky in the bottom lane, or in the top lane rather, and he will press forward and will be able to secure a lane of racks with those wards. Conversely, though, there are no wards for this fight here. Corey has a chrono ready to rock and roll. Glyph comes out from JR. In the bottom lane, Sharky has gotten racks, so Zephyr needs something here, or it's just a lane of racks for nothing.
He's got Ravage.
Going on to Chibi. And now Johnny's the one that takes the stun. Chronosphere. Chibi's the one that gets isolated. Death Ward focusing possibly the wrong target. Timbersaw will be able to finish off Johnny, and he'll buy back. Now Paulson, the target of choice. He gets stunned. Can he eat a cheese? No, he cannot. Invoker will fall. Now around the backside of the fight, they still want Chibi. Corey going blow for blow with him, but oh, the Ravage from Winter. It'll turn the tides. Chibi procs the Aegis, but it'll be coming right back to life. There's your second Ravage. Zephyr still alive for now, but Blitz taking heavy damage. Chibi's back up. Now things get a little more dirty. Aosin has come back to life as well. And Bambo now on the run. He's stolen Morph. But can he do it? Blitz is back at the party. All those Bloodstone charges coming in handy as he respawns quick. Chibi getting low. He wants to finish off Bambo, but he may have committed too much. Fade Bolt comes out. He's on the run. Morphing strength as quickly as he can. Just trying to TP home, and he will survive. They have no interrupt. Still not ideal for Zephyr. They don't bring down the tower, and they've lost one lane of racks for this.
But the only one they bought back on was Blitz, and they get the Enchantress buyback once again. They're still going in here. Sexy Bambo just going to take Anchor Smash down. Winter wants his blood. He's going in deep, but it looks like they're just trying to at least single one out. It's going to be Eosin 8 seconds on that Reincarnate. Not going to be out fast enough. And in the meantime, their base has been taking a heavy pounding here. The tier 4s on the left side did get dropped down to below 600 HP, and they will go back and retreat. So in the end, a buyback on both sides, 1 for 1, and the racks still stand in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that would have been completely different if there wasn't an Aegis in the field. It made a much bigger difference than I think we both thought there. Chibi was taken down, but he came back with full health, and they almost brought him down again, but if all that damage they put into the second iteration of Chibi was into the rest of the team that were laying into Zephyr, I think they might have been able to do it and break that bottom lane. Really good heads-up play from Sharky as well, going to the top lane and securing that lane of racks. So easy with the Aghanim upgrade. Level 3 Mass Serpent wards. It's still a heads-up play to drop the wards down before returning back to the fight.
So this makes the fights ever more convoluted, trying to figure out who's going to be able to come ahead with so many reinforcements coming in. We've got BOTs from both sides, so they can go in to buy back and then reinitiate into the fight. We've got 2 BOTs, one on Timbersaw, one on Witch Doctor, and then on the other side, Invoker and Morphling. So a lot of that, as well, if you just pull up the item chart in general, look at all the green. Oh, shoot, Timbersaw getting picked off there. Not a good one, but luckily the Bloodstone will reduce his respawn time, so the buyback plus death will not actually cost him too much time.
Yep. Down to 7 Bloodstone charges, though. Blitz is shell of his former self. He was up to like 22, 23 Bloodstone charges at one point, so he's definitely lost a little bit of that momentum. Down bottom, looks like a skirmish could break out. Shadow Shaman hiding in the trees. He'll hop over. They go for Corey. Can he survive? It's bait. They've got people nearby. He just needs to get off the chrono. He lives for now, but no, Corey still goes down. Merlini gets off the ultimate with the BKB. Lots of damage coming out. Secures the kill onto the Shadow Shaman, but he still falls. Chibi going ham on the team. Sexy Bambo taking heavy damage here. Now Aosin in big trouble. Has no wand nor the mana. The EMP completely crippling him here. And Zephyr in shambles. No Blitz to join the party. Won't be up for another 9 seconds. Gets the Chronosphere off. That was a buyback from the Faceless Void. And a very defensive Chronosphere as they try to make the escape. But, oh no, Zephyr starting to crumble under the pressure. They're losing the coordination. And now this bottom lane of racks will be difficult to hold without a Chronosphere or a Death Ward.
And these combos are lacking their Wombo, and with Blitz dead and the pickoff coming through, this is a very difficult fight for them. Faceless Void cannot die again, or the game is over. Master Wards go down. Tier 3 in jeopardy. They have to make a move, but with Chrono in 25, I don't know if they can. Bottom racks is gone, and mid is being destroyed. Nice initiation from Winter.
Yep, Ravage number 1. Chibi comes soaring in. Corey with his BKB on. Will be forced to time walk back. Chibi caught in the telekinesis. Can they bring him down? He gets turned into a piggy, but they didn't bring their bacon slicer. They can't bring him down. Now Blitz falls again. He's down for 70 seconds this time. Merlini on his way back up, but the Mega Creeps are inbound. One more rack standing between Zephyr and certain defeat, and that'll do it. Cheese is dropped. Chrono comes out onto Johnny. He'll fall. Chibi caught inside of it as well. Is there really a cheese on the ground here? Death Ward is down, but the damage just isn't enough. Can they get Chibi? Yes, they will. Maybe Zephyr can hold in here for one last push. But Mega Creeps are going to be coming into their base, and that makes things a lot more difficult.
Oh, so close. The gem, he had the vision, but he didn't have the disable. The telekinesis on CD. Polasan will slip right through with that massive movement speed boost that you get from Ghostwalk and Wext. So we do see them pushing in. Up against Mega Creeps, the Mjolnir can still just absolutely destroy them, but it'll cost Corey a lot of HP. He's life-stealing as best he can. Merlini's healing him up, but when it comes down to it, he still only has that one life. So going forward, they're going to go for a bit of an all-in. Morphling does have buyback. They're praying he does not, but indeed he does. He'll expend it here, and this is the final fight, the midnight hour for both teams.
Indeed, Enchantress does not have a buyback here. Paulison is going all in for the throne. Glyph on the Radiant side. This is turning into a bit of a base race. Dire have a Glyph of their own. Winter, one Ravage available, but no Refresher. He will get E-bladed for now and will survive. Looks like he will fall in the end. Meanwhile, in the base, Paulison is being repelled by Blitz. Zephyr have a chance here. Winter falls. Now Sharky trying to disable Bambo, and Invoker will make it back to the base. Meatball comes flying through. Chibi caught inside of the Chrono. Winter now bought back. There's the Ravage. Aosin has the ultimate available, and that'll proc it, but they've lost their Void. Now a buyback on the Rubik, and I think this will be the end of Zephyr here in this last triumphant push. They do some damage to the Tier 4 towers, but can't do enough to secure the win. And now their base just in complete shambles. No safety structures left, no towers, it's just the throne. Chibi pressing forward. He wants to end this sooner rather than later. Finishes off the Rubik. If Blitz could bring him down, he doesn't have a buyback here, but it doesn't matter. Blitz is the lone defender. GG, well played. That'll take us to a Game 3.
Absolutely insane from both sides, but especially from Johnny's Revenge. The unfortunate fact was that they only have the one BKB. They used it to try to bring down the Tier 3 towers instead of fighting heroes, and as a result, they turned it around with Ethereal Blades, Ravages, all this magical stuff that they've been immune to all this game. But with the BKBs cooling down to 5-6 second durations, they're able to actually make use of their abilities and bring this one home. That was absolutely insane. They turned it around against all odds, and you look at the green, you see the Ghost Scepters, you see the Ethereal Blades. It's just so hard to deal with all that ethereal. The fact is the physical damage was their primary prerogative, and Zephyr weren't able to break through. Their combo just lacked the wombo, and they weren't able to finish it off. So Johnny's Revenge, 57 minutes, an amazing turn of events.
Yes, indeed. So we'll move into the last game of this series. We'll have a quick break, and then coming up next, the conclusion of Zephyr versus Johnny's Revenge. The winner moving on to the semis. The loser will head home empty-handed. Stay with us, because we've got one more game coming your way.